Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle Rook, along with Garrett Toy with AgTraderTalk, and we saw higher meats today, but over in the grain trade, mostly lower except for the hard wheats. And Garrett, let's talk about corn and soybeans, a down day there, and some of that really came from weather and this fast planting pace, didn't it?
Yeah, we're above average pace, 49% corn planting. We're really blowing the smoke off the water in soybean planting. I think we'll see. Everyone is kind of concerned about the northern plains plant pace, but for the most part, they are not that far off of pace, to be honest with you. And they still have time to go. It's been the I states that are making the majority of the national progress here. Illinois over 70% on corn. If they slow up, then maybe that slows up national numbers. But these forecasts do look conducive to good planting progress, and we're coming up on this key May 10th time period that the NAS likes to look at as far as trendline yield, and there's nothing that says that we don't have potential for trendline yield at this point.
Right. The other big thing that shook up the market was more China corn cancellations, right?
Yeah, they know when to kick us when we're down. I mean, but obviously, I mean, they're doing the prudent thing. They know more about the size of that safrinha crop in Brazil. You're seeing more offers for Brazilian corn for July, August, September timeframe. And the Brazilians have been fairly aggressive offering it. So China is going to cancel these purchases for expensive U.S. corn and buy the cheaper Brazilian quantities. And I'm hearing that they're buying massive quantities of Brazilian corn here just because it is, the fact, so cheap.
And we're concerned in the corn about exports and that USDA may have to actually pull those down in the WASDE on Friday, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on pace. We're running about 100 million bushel behind where the USDA has us forecasted. And even if you look at the NAS ethanol grind numbers, I mean, we're running behind pace there. So, worst case scenario, if you really wanted to get your pencil out, I mean, one in theory could cut 200 million bushel from this old crop carryout. Whether the USDA does that, they're not going to do that Friday at any means. But they are expecting old crop cut. The other aspect of it is this: we get the initial May new crop S&D tables. The trade is looking for a 2 billion bushel carryout. If you look at where the trade is expecting old crop carryout to new crop carryout, that spread's about a 750 million bushel spread, and that is the fourth largest on record. So we're going to have a pretty big build in new crop supplies as at this point, assuming all goes well.
Garrett, is it possible that we're building in all these bearish expectations, and if they're not as bearish as they could be, or the trade thinks they are, that we could actually see the market rally on a little bit of bearish news on Friday?
Absolutely. I think that you could very well be setting up a sell the rumor, buy the fact type thing. And we're going to have quite a transition here because the old crop supplies are still, even though on paper, look to be growing. The cash markets and the spreads are telling you something otherwise. So the market's going to try to figure out or try to reconcile what this really means. Maybe we have to wait till a September crop report, and last year's crop was not as big as we expected. If it's a logistics thing or just a dislocation of supply, but something isn't making sense here relative to the paper numbers versus what the market is telling us.
Yeah. So do you see a lot more downside pressure going into the WASDE here on Friday then, or not? And where do we have to hold from a support level technically?
513 last week's low, 513 a quarter last week's low in dates corn is very important. Or that's going to try to keep us from trying to make a move to $5 and sub $5. November beans, the psychological 1250 number, which was coincidentally Tuesday's low here at 1250 and a half. Like I said, the bean S&D isn't as necessarily bearish as the corn for new crop, but the market position is the most bearish thing there in a market that is not necessarily conducive to investment in agriculture.
Okay, let's move over to the cattle market. Actually, a nice close here today, and June had a very strong technical close. Can we build on that, do you think?
Your upside here is maybe $1 to $2. Get back up to that 165 level. We seem to have a fairly significant lid on this market at 166. We've kind of been, after the sell-off from the bank collapses a week, 10 days ago, we've kind of slowly been building back with higher lows, and this kind of the 163 area has kind of acted as as an area of resistance. Well, now we've had the breakout here today, and that suggests we could go back to 165, see where cash trades into the end of the week.
Yeah, what's your thoughts about cash? We've had 3 down weeks. Could we even be steady this week because sholas are smaller?
I'm wondering if that's maybe going to be the case with this breakout here today, as the market's kind of anticipating that.
Right.
If you look at how the flat price reacted, it kind of seemed to coincide with this weaker cash, and thoughts were that maybe cash would do the work here. With the lower, I think that we're probably going to see cash maybe try to stabilize here after a month. It's rare for us to go for more than 4 weeks like this.
Finally, some life in the hogs today after a really wicked week last week, but can we build on it? Because it just seems like we don't get more than 1 or 2 days of a rally, and then they come in here and the funds sell this thing again.
I don't see anything really changing to be honest with you, I don't see the change of the trend. We're in a fairly defined downtrend in this hog market. We had some headline support from the ideas of the bigs shutting down sow farms, but really it hasn't really materialized. I don't really want to bottom pick in here until we see some sustained rallies, and one day just isn't going to do it for me.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us. That is Garrett Toay with AgTraderTalk, and that's Markets Now.